Hey there, it's Dave at No Recipe Required, and tonight I've got a really cool dish for you, a spaghetti with tomato pesto. Now, pestos are usually the green basil pestos that I love, they're wonderful. But what I'm going to show you how to do is make a tomato pesto, and then we'll cook off some spaghetti like we would normally do, put it all together, and it really is a totally different spin on traditional spaghetti, totally different spin on basil pesto, and I think you're going to love it. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, you're going to be amazed at how easy it is to do this sun-dried tomato pesto. What I've got here is a jar of sun-dried tomatoes. This is 8 ounces, so about a cup. I think that's about a cup. I'm throwing it in there, kind of juice and everything, olive oil, or oil that's in there. Probably going to need to add a little bit more olive oil. I've got some toasted walnuts, probably a couple tablespoons, and then a few tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, and like 2 large or 3 small garlic cloves, a little bit of salt, a little bit of fresh ground black pepper, and I can tell this is going to need a little bit more olive oil. You need enough in there to make sure you can get the blades of the blender going. We're going to cap this, and we're just going to pulse it until everything is kind of broken up a little bit. And then I'm going to let it go for probably 20 seconds once it's integrated, just to make sure it's all nice and smooth. So I spent the last couple minutes just adding a little bit of olive oil at the time, kind of pushing it down, pushing everything down with my spatula. You want to get kind of a nice, not smooth texture. It's still fairly chunky here, but you don't want big chunks of tomato in there. You want to give it a little taste. And one of the things I frequently like to do, this one needs a little bit more salt and a little bit more pepper, is tomato, I think, can really use a little bit of acid. So I've got a little bit of sherry vinegar here. You could use red wine vinegar. You could use balsamic vinegar as well. We're just going to add that in, do one more quick blend, and we'll pour it out. Okay, after our final blend, our sun-dried tomato pesto is finished, and you are good to go. Our tomato pesto is made, so let's get going on our spaghetti. Boiling salted water. We're going to drop our dry spaghetti. Probably going to take about 10 minutes or so. You want to make sure you cook it al dente, and you want to stir it, once it breaks down, you want to make sure you stir it every 3 or 4 minutes or so to make sure it doesn't stick. Okay, so I just strained the pasta, threw it into a pan. What I'm going to do is throw a little bit of olive oil in there. And then right away, I'm also going to hit it with some of our tomato pesto. And unlike a basil pesto, this one I don't really mind cooking so much because herbs are far more delicate than the tomato. So I just want to toss the pasta to get it nicely coated. If it's sticking, you can use just a little bit of olive oil in there. And then I'm going to use a little bit more for the amount of pasta I've got. Let's get all of that in there. You can also, when you cook the pasta, reserve a little bit of the pasta water. And that can be used to both thin the sauce a little bit, and it'll help release some of the pasta if it happens to be sticky. I've got a chicken breast that I cooked off earlier. We'll throw that in there. You can absolutely just do this vegetarian. I'm just going to let all that kind of come up to temperature. We're going to season it with salt and with pepper. And once we do that, we're pretty much good to go. I'm just going to toss this together and we'll serve it. Okay, let's go ahead and serve up our spaghetti with tomato pesto. Like always with the spaghetti, you want to give it a nice little twist, which will give it a little bit of height. I got some of that chicken on the side. You want to make sure you get that in there as well. And then I'm going to garnish with just a little bit of Parmesan or Asiago cheese over the top. If you happen to have some basil or some parsley, I don't tonight. That would be great as well. A little drizzle of olive oil. And you got the perfect little pasta dish. I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required.